All right, let's switch gears a little bit, right? Talk college football, fall camp nearly upon us, and what's in a deal when it comes to these coaches? We all know a lot of times they can get big bucks, but they're the highest paid employees, maybe on campus, maybe in the state. Conferences in terms of what they give out, schools, the linguistics of the deal. It can be, a novel at times when it comes to what's actually in that contract. Thankfully for us, we've got our analyst, Richard Johnson, who penned an article on CBSSports.com taking a look inside the contract of college football's newest coaches. So I know you put in a lot of work, so let's trim it down and try to deliver it for our viewers here, Richard, inside Bill Belichick's contract and potential buyout with UNC.
Yeah, Tommy, Bill Belichick's buyout drops from $10 million to $1 million, and it did so on June 1st. And you may ask yourself, well, why would it do that? Well, I think we all know that if Bill Belichick had his druthers, he would be back in the NFL. It hasn't worked out in the last two NFL hiring cycles, and so Bill Belichick is at North Carolina. He is not directly chasing Don Shula's NFL wins record. But if he performs well at North Carolina and an NFL team comes calling this fall, then I think, quite frankly, Bill Belichick's head might be turned to go back to the NFL and again chase Shula's win record and have his name go beside yet another record in the history of professional football. So it was something that was prohibitive for teams to try in the winter if they wanted to, even as Belichick got on with Carolina. But as far as this fall is concerned, the fall of 2025, North Carolina better watch out if the Tar Heels are good on the field, because Belichick may be bouncing quickly.
It's been interesting. It was the year of Belichick, of course. He tried that book tour. A lot of people saying, of course, trying to inch it out. He still hasn't signed that deal yet. Maybe he'll go to the NFL, and it's good to see him there on the sidelines getting ready for actual football forthcoming. All right, what about Dan Mullen? What's the rub with his deal out in Vegas?
Well, Dan Mullen's deal has a clause that is honestly quite common, and I think it answers the question that you and I may have over dinner, which is like, these guys get these massive buyouts when they're fired. If that was me or you, I mean, we'd be sitting on the beach. As far as me and you are concerned, Tommy, we'd be on the golf course. We'd be playing as much golf as humanly possible. Well, you can't do that. These contracts often have duties to mitigate the buyout that the school owes to you, which means, quite frankly, you need to go find some work. So if you see a college football coach that is owed a massive buyout and he ends up in the NFL, or he ends up in the media, or he ends up taking an assistant job or a consultant job, that's because he has a duty to do so. He has a duty to try to mitigate that cost. And you know, those clauses are often a little bit different. UNLV's clause says that that their buyout owed ceases to exist if Mullen gets another job. But a lot of this is kind of keeping up appearances. You know, obviously you can't force some place to hire you, but Dan Mullen kind of has to prove in good faith, if he's fired from UNLV, that he is actively trying to pursue a new job. That's really why it's in there. It's so you're not trying to take advantage of the circumstance, and you can kind of say that, hey, you know, I at least tried to get a new job, even if it doesn't end up landing one.
You brought up golf. Interestingly enough, Rich Rodriguez got something to do with being out there on the greens with West Virginia. Tell us about it.
Yeah, coaches get country club memberships. It's pretty much in any coaching contract that you see, but it does run the gamut. A lot of times, like Bill Belichick, for instance, Chapel Hill Country Club, it's a place that North Carolina knows well from an athletic department standpoint. A lot of times that'll happen. A coach will get a country club membership at a place that the school knows well, or the school's own golf course. But Rich Rodriguez's contract does not specify the country club that he is offered a membership to. Now, I don't know Rich's handicap. I don't know if he is a good golfer. Trey Lamb, Tulsa's head coach, is a tremendous golfer, for instance. So I don't know how good Rich Rodriguez is on the links. But if I were Rich Rodriguez, I would go down the road to Pikewood National, one of the best golf courses in the country, and say, folks, you guys got room for one more. It's on West Virginia's dime. Now, Rich Rodriguez does have to cover food and beverage. That is in the contract. But the dues and the initiation, that's on the Mountaineers.
Looks like you and I need to make a trip to fall camp down there in West Virginia and talk to Rich Rod and maybe get some inside scoop into what he's doing and how much his handicap is these days. All right, what about Matt Drinkall's deal with Central Michigan and some of the things that he is required or mandated to possibly do here?
Yeah, this was an interesting one that I found in my reporting. Matt Drinkall, if he did not have an introductory press conference on a specific day, owed the school $500,000 in a fine. Now, that's frankly exorbitant. And again, Matt Drinkall did his intro press conference on the day specified, so this is all moot. But I just found that clause so interesting. Now, the week in question here was the week leading up to the Army-Navy game. Central Michigan hired Matt Drinkall off of Army's staff. So my read on the situation was just that they wanted to mandate Matt Drinkall show up to the press conference during a very, very busy week for him as he was game planning for the biggest game of Army's season and one of the biggest annual games on the college football calendar. Again, Matt Drinkall did the press conference when asked. It wasn't a thing. I just found it very curious because that's not something that you often see. Yeah,
not at all. That's kind of interesting there in terms of a very specific part of a coach's job duty. All right, how about Zach Kittley there, the reassignment clause that we're learning there with FAU?
Yeah, this is something that I guess is boilerplate to FAU coaches, which is FAU has the ability, the ability to reassign a head coach to pretty much any other part of the athletic department, sort of rather than or in lieu of an immediate firing. And this was in Tom Herman's deal with FAU. This was also in Willie Taggart's deal, and they enforced it. Willie Taggart got sent a formal letter, I should say, by FAU at the time that he was removed from the head coaching position, and he was assigned to the school's facility department. So I don't know if it doesn't work out with Zach Kittley. Could you put Kittley in the IT department or potentially food service? Who knows? He keeps his salary in that event, by the way, but they're just kind of stashing him at a different place in the athletic department. You know, I don't know what FAU's HR department is up to, but it is one way that FAU is able to kind of rejigger a staff if they want to remove a head coach. Sometimes if you get put into the IT department, you can just say, hey, I can't get a hold of them. Happens a lot in corporate America, being able to try to find some help there in IT. Thankfully, we've got Richard giving us some help. Of course, you can check out that full article on CBSSports.com. Thank you. All right, we'll keep it in the college game, but when we come back, Sin City hosting this year's Big Ten Media Days. We're bringing up the biggest questions of the week with our guy BC next on HQ.